In 2018, my wife and I faced one of the biggest challenges of our relationship and the harsh reality of 215 grand in debt, despite decent incomes as a nurse and an engineer. Now, it was our first year of marriage in our late 20s, and this is when we had started talking about the next phase in our lives. We wanted to start having kids, move to a quieter place in the suburbs, and buy a bigger and safer car for our family. But there was a massive problem, and this was the pile of debt that we were in. Now, I am getting an anxiety attack just thinking about this because at this point in our journey, we were on different pages. She handled her finances, I handled mine. But as we saw the challenge ahead of us, we had to make a decision. Do we continue to live separate financial lives, or do we come together to tackle this massive challenge as a married couple should? Well, to figure this out, we sat down, we had a long back and forth, and we merged our finances. We decided to get on a plan together and tackle this as a joint account. Now, we worked night and day tirelessly, even through the pandemic. We decreased our expenses, but not too much because we did not want to go back to living like college students, and we focused on increasing our income instead. With working overtime, doing side hustles, and selling things online, we were relentless and nothing mattered more than paying off that debt. But it was not all sunshine and rainbows, I must tell you. During this process, we had to deal not just with the financial challenges, but also the mental ones and emotional ones, because comparison, fear of missing out, and shiny object syndrome were here. It wasn't easy to stay focused, especially as our friends traveled the world and moved on with their lives. But we had to stay the course, and we did. Because remembering the reason why we started kept us going, and it wasn't until 2021 when we made our last student loan payment. We sat in our living room, and together we had our debt-free scream a la Dave Ramsey style. We learned so much during our debt-free journey. It brought us together as a couple. And now I want to share with you 8 steps that work for us so you can do the same. If you're getting value out of this video, by the way, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And let me know your biggest debt struggles below. The first step is stopping the bleed. Now, the very first step in getting out of debt is understanding and addressing the reason you're in debt to begin with. Debt is a side effect of something bigger going on, and as psychologist Nathaniel Brandon said, you can't fix the problem you haven't acknowledged. So I want you to spend 15 minutes journaling about your spending habits. Identify one behavior you can change today. Ask yourself questions like, are you overspending? Why? Are you trying to impress others? Why? Are you tracking your money at all? Where is it going? Are you feeling emotional voids by spending money? Do you have any self-esteem challenges? And the reason I'm saying this is because I talked to a lady one time and she said to me she got into a lot of debt because she wanted to buy expensive stuff to look good because she was seeking other people's approvals. In her case, debt was just a symptom of something bigger going on. Now, in our case, we had expensive degrees in nursing and engineering. We had a wedding to pay off and a car loan. And yes, a lot of credit cards that funded years of crazy festivals, parties, and nights out. So we knew our problem and we knew how to approach to address it. Now, whatever the reason you identified, the good news is your future is in your control. And as long as you change your behavior, things will change. Which brings us to the next step. Step number 2, which is finding your why. We wanted to get out of debt because we wanted to grow our family. We were approaching our 30s, and the female biological clock was putting pressure on us to get started as soon as possible. We absolutely did not want to grow our family having money challenges because we both understand how difficult they can be. That was our why. Now, you might ask yourself, why do I want to be debt-free? Is it for your family? Is it to travel? Is it to start a business? What will life look like without debt? What can you do with all the extra money? I want you to write that down on a little post-it and keep it attached to the laptop so you can look at it every single day. Because your why will pull you through when motivation ends. The sad reality is that if you don't have a strong why, you'll most likely go back to where you started. You know exactly what I'm talking about. The third step in this process and one of the lessons for us is building a $1,200 just-in-case fund. Many people may not like this, but honestly, I don't care. It's really what worked for us. My wife and I set aside a $1,200 just-in-case fund, which we used to deal with unexpected expenses that could threaten our progress. This is simple and straightforward. Nowadays, I will keep it in a high-yield savings account so it can be easily accessible and grow with little to no risk in an FDIC insured bank. So start saving $1,200 as fast as possible. Use a high-yield savings account like SoFi or CIT, and I will share the links in the description if you want to learn more about these two options. But please remember, this fund isn't just for vacations or compulsive Amazon purchases. It's your financial shock absorber. The fourth step in the process is budgeting like a boss. Now, if you've never tracked your spending, this step will be eye-opening because one of the biggest misconceptions I used to have was that budgeting was about restriction, it was about being cheap. But I could not be more wrong. Budgeting is about control. Think of budgeting as doing an audit of your money. If you don't do an audit, you won't know how much you have, where it's going, and more importantly, you won't know where to put it. And here's the thing, you don't have to be that restricted or look at it every single day. Well, technically, you could look at it every single day, but I know from experience that this leads to more stress and anxiety that at the end of the day don't end up helping at all. So what we did was we covered all of our obligations, such as our living expenses, our debt payments, and anything beyond that we would use for dinners or night out without going too crazy. This is what worked for us. So you can list out all your income and expenses. You can categorize fixed expenses like rent, utilities, and your debt payment. You can also use a budgeting app like Quicken, or you can simply use a spreadsheet. I'm going to leave a few links in the description for these tools as well. I made a free spreadsheet you can start using today if you like. It's simple and it gets the job done. Now, the bottom line here is to create a realistic budget that prioritizes your debt repayments without making you feel deprived. Step number 5 in the process is using the Snowball method. Now, this is by far the best repayment strategy I know, and we learned this from Dave Ramsey. Now, the debt snowball method helps you gain emotional momentum by paying off little debts regardless of interest and then moving on to higher and higher amounts. So here's how you can implement it. I want you to list your debts from the smallest to largest, ignoring interest rates for now, and you're going to pay the minimum on all the debts except the smallest. Throw every dollar you have at the smallest debt until it's completely gone, and I want you to rinse and repeat the same process with the next debt. Now, the reason this works is because small wins create momentum. You feel more confident, more motivated as your debts start getting crossed out of your debt spreadsheet. Again, I will link a free spreadsheet you can start using today to start listing out all your debts. Step number 6 is consolidating your debts. Now, as someone who had dozens of accounts, including credit cards, student loans, car loans, personal loans, I know juggling multiple debts is overwhelming, and you may even miss a payment if you're not careful. So we're consolidating many debts into one to get fewer payments and lower interest by using a balance transfer credit card with 0% interest. Now, I know this step can be a little bit complex for some people, and getting a credit card may not be that feasible. So if this were the case in my situation, I will also consider other options like debt consolidation organizations and negotiating interest rates with creditors. I'll be leaving a few links in the description you can review so you can use this step wisely and as you wish. This is going to help you decrease the number of payments you make and in some cases even reduce the interest you have. Now, here's what I want you to remember though. Just remember that this consolidation is not a cure. It requires discipline because if you don't address the problem, you may end up even with more debt and go back to square one. Step number 7 in the process is increasing your income. Have you ever heard Dave Ramsey say rice and beans? He makes me laugh when he says this because I get what he's saying. But honestly, for us, this did not work. We understood we could only cut our expenses so much before we went back to living like college students. So we decided to focus on increasing our income instead. Now, I won't go into what each of the strategies we followed because, well, that will be a whole nother subject, another video. But I just want to give you here a few highly profitable strategies and ideas we use and which I would use nowadays to get out of debt faster. Things like working more hours, including overtime, Uber, Lyft, online coaching. I talked about this in the past. Also, selling goods online through Shopify or selling clothes and games on eBay, like also selling bracelets. Also, selling goods in person, like flipping bicycles or couches or TVs. I've seen a lot of people make a killing with these side hustles. Or you can also develop new skills. and go freelance on Fiverr, using content creation and tools like YouTube to increase your income and start a business. I know cutting back on expenses helps, but earning more is better. And here's the better part. When you increase your income, this is a skill that you will learn for life beyond your debt. So definitely something I recommend. As Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, what stands in the way becomes the way. So use debt as a motivator to hustle harder and even earn extra dollars to avoid going deeper into debt and to pay off that debt faster. Step number 8 is tracking and celebrating your progress. Now, for full transparency here, along the journey to pay off debt, it will be very difficult. We dealt with this many times when we did not know if we could keep going. We lost motivation, especially when you have a ton of debt. But if there's one thing that helped us overcome these slumps and get motivated again, was tracking and celebrating the progress we made. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to create a debt tracker and cross out each debt as you pay it off. This will be life-changing because you will see each debt being crossed out as you progress, and this is going to give you a lot of positive emotion and motivation. I also want you to celebrate milestones with small rewards. A nice dinner or a day trip that you pay cash for. If you paid off a big loan or a big credit card, give yourself a little reward, again, that you pay cash for. This helped my wife and I stay positive because the way I see it, it's like when you are dieting to lose weight. You can eat chicken with rice and broccoli only for so long until you decide to go for that burger. But if you approach it in a more balanced way, then you will be able to keep going longer. What we're looking for here is sustainability in the long term and change our behavior. So keep that fire going by joining communities of like-minded people on Facebook, maybe Reddit, or you can start your own community through school. And the truth is that finding support is crucial. So always make sure that you surround yourself with people who are where you want to be. Now, the bottom line is this. Financial security and freedom require trade-offs. You might skip vacations, you might downgrade your car, or say no to nights out, but remember that these sacrifices are temporary. As long as you keep going and are adaptable and persistent and find support if you need to, I have no doubt you will make this happen. Every dollar you don't spend today brings you closer to a debt-free tomorrow. And always remember that you got this, that you can make this happen. Now, if you find this video helpful and useful, subscribe to the channel. Check the links in the description for resources to help you get out of debt faster today. And let me know what biggest debt struggles you have right now in the comments. I'd love to help you out and give you some insight from my experience. Thank you guys for being here, and I'll see you all on the next one.